So what effects to use to wipe this away? I want something that will smudge. And what comes to mind, I'm looking for some type of blurriness. Second is some type of tint or opacity has to happen. And when it gets wiped away, this part gets wiped away on the left and middle, going to the left. But this right side is still solid. So we have to figure out a way to achieve that. First thing, let's think about the formulas. What would a good wipe look like? Go to its effects, go into window. You don't see effects. Effects controls right down here. Right now there's nothing. What comes to mind is blurriness. I need some type of blur. And fastbox blur I think is a good choice just because it happens quickly. We could try these other blurs as well. An experiment. I'm going with fastbox blur. I'll select it and I'll drag it to the cloud. Safer way is to just drag it to the cloud layer. Increase the blur radius. I think that would be a good smudge. So there'll be just a faint image left in the end. I don't think I even need to do opacity on this one. So this will be the after. You can experiment with horizontal versus vertical. And so horizontal, of course, give you these horizontal streaks. The vertical will give you these vertical streaks. It's the hands moving left to right. It'll be horizontal. And I can increase the iterations to make it look a little bit smoother, like this. If you want more streaks, you can use that number. This would be a good setting, horizontal, if you're using text. With this image, I think horizontal and vertical just works out. And I don't need to be such a pick 5, and it doesn't need to be such a high number either. So experiment. You're going for visuals. There's no exact formula sometimes because you're working with different pieces of art. Let me decrease the iterations because I think 7 was too smooth. Let me try 5. So this will be the end look. How do we get there? Starting from a solid, going to this blurred part, we'll be using a mask. And the concept of mask, one layer showing through to another layer, and a layer can also be a whole composition, or just hiding part of a graphic, or showing only part of a graphic, one concept of layers. The other concept of layers, there are masks to apply effects to. Now, in order to apply mask to this, I need to convert it to a composition, because if I start drawing out a mask now, it's just going to add to the shape. It's like, that's not what I want. I want to define an area just to apply effects to. And to do this, I'm just going to cut this effect. Control X or Command X just to cut. This will just make things a little easier in a moment from now. Then right click on the cloud and pre-compose. And we're doing this because we need to apply a mask to the effects to apply the effects. And the only way that's going to happen is if this is no longer a shape, but it's a shape within a layer composition. So this is a shape. Right-click the shape, pre-compose, calling it cloud, clicking on OK. Then just paste back your effect. Command V, Control V for paste. If you lost your effect, you forgot to do it, no worries. Just drag out your effect again. You only lost 30 seconds of your life. It's okay to just repair it in case you forgot to copy and paste. This composition, within this composition is the original shape. And that original shape is the cloud, and it looks blurry because this effect is on this outside of this cloud's composition. Let's draw a mask, so this way the cloud goes from a solid and animates as the swipe happens. Pick up this rectangular tool, and you could use the pen tool if you want. I think the rectangular tool is good enough for this. Draw out a rectangle. You see the rectangle like this, but no, we can animate it going like this with an effect on it. Pick up the move tool again because we only need one mask. Under your cloud layer, which is the composition, under effects, this is the mask. You'll see, if we expand under effects, fastbox blur, composition options. If you click the plus sign, this will create an option to apply a mask that's within this layer, mask 1, mask 1. Why don't you see this effect applied to this? That's because the effect will only be applied when this mask travels across. And let me select this mask and turn back on the effect. And you can see this is what we're going to do. We're going to animate this getting longer. Let me select this whole mask, and I'll do that by clicking on the word mask. And I'll do that by going to the mask, mask path. That's a whole mask being selected. I'll just drag it back again. This is what we're going to achieve, blurriness happening as the hand moves across. Going back to frame, let's look when the hand comes into the scene, and right around here, it's when we're going to start animating the mask. Let's say around there. Put your first keyframe in for the mask path. And the rest is just going through the timeline. I'm pressing the control right arrow to move a few frames over. And I want to just select these 2 points on this line, on this mask. So I'll click off and I'll just click back on. See how now only this point selected and this point? Before, when I had clicked off and I clicked on mask path 1, all my points were selected. I'm clicking off some neutral area, but not too neutral because we still have to be on this layer. Just clicking so that anchor point selected, and shift click this next anchor point. I'll just drag my mask this way, keep up with the finger. And so there you can see it's getting blurred. I'll go a few more frames forward, and I'll just still drag forward. Right, I still have these 2 points selected. So let's just go follow. I expanded my mask. And that's it. Let me play it out, and you can experiment with the effects to get your own looks going.